I died, choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as the Humvee flipped end over end in the Afghan dust. My best friend's screams cut short by the RPG blast that should have been mine to dodge. Betrayed by the man who raised me. Whispered secrets to the enemy through encrypted channels, all to bury his own embezzlement from the family trust, my father, the silver-tongued senator from Virginia, who'd sold me out for a clean ledger. And now, as my eyes snapped open to the silk sheets of my Arlington apartment, the alarm clock blinking 6 a.m. on the morning of my wedding day 3 years earlier, I knew this was my second chance. And hell if I wouldn't drag him down with me before he could light the fuse. The mirror in my bathroom fogged up from the steam of the shower I'd just stepped out of. But it couldn't hide the truth staring back at me. Ruby Claire Harlan, 28. Eyes like chipped obsidian. Hair still wet and dark as midnight oil from West Texas roots I'd long ago scrubbed clean. In my first life, I'd been the golden girl of the Navy. Rising through SEAL training disguised as a consultant because fuck the glass ceiling. I'd shattered it with C4 and a prayer. But Dad, Senator Harlan, the folksy bastard with the drawl that charmed C-SPAN viewers, had always seen me as his disappointment. The daughter who chose camo over cotillions. He'd mocked me at every turn. But that wedding? That was the night he lit the match. I toweled off, my mind racing like a predator drone over hostile terrain. The ceremony was at 2 p.m. in that overpriced Georgetown venue. All crystal chandeliers and old money whispers. Courtesy of my fiancé, Ethan, the trust fund tech bro who'd proposed with a ring that cost more than my first deployment bonus. In the before, he'd been my anchor until he wasn't. Turns out, he'd been feeding intel to Dad, too. A side hustle for startup capital, blind to the fact that it painted a target on my back. Their little alliance got me shipped to that godforsaken convoy in Kandahar, where the ambush waited like a lover's knife in the dark. But not this time. I slipped into my robe, the terry cloth soft against skin that still bore faint scars from missions long past, and now, impossibly, from a future unwritten. My phone buzzed on the vanity, a text from Mom. Can't wait to see you walk down the aisle. Sweetheart. Your father's bringing the whole delegation. Make us proud. Proud. The word twisted in my gut like barbed wire. Mom. The eternal enabler. Blind to the rot eating our family from the inside. She'd die of a heart attack 6 months after my funeral in the first timeline, but I suspected poison, Dad's handiwork. Covering tracks. I dressed methodically, white lace gown that hugged like body armor. Heels sharp enough to draw blood. No veil, I wasn't hiding shit anymore. As I descended the spiral staircase of my row house, the scent of fresh coffee hit me, Ethan, ever the early riser, humming some indie playlist in the kitchen. He turned, all boyish grin and tousled blonde hair, holding out a mug like it was the elixir of normalcy. Morning, Admiral. You look like you could conquer the world already. I forced a smile, sipping the brew to buy time. In the before, this moment was all butterflies and banter. Now, it was reconnaissance. Conquer? Nah. Just surviving the Harlan family circus. I leaned against the counter, watching his eyes, the same eyes that would glaze over with guilt in a hospital room months from now. Confessing everything on his deathbed from the cancer Dad's stress had accelerated. Or so he claimed. Lies on lies. We drove to the venue in his Tesla, the DC. Traffic a snarl of horns and exhaust, the Potomac glittering like fool's gold under a December sun that promised winter bite. Ethan chattered about his latest app pitch, something about AI for veterans' mental health. ironic as fuck given what was coming. I nodded, half listening, my brain mapping escape routes. The wedding was cover for Dad's real play, a backroom deal with lobbyists in the coat room, trading defense contracts for campaign dirt on me. He'd plant evidence of my insubordination that night, whispers of leaked classifieds, setting the stage for my deployment and demise. By noon, the ballroom buzzed with 200 souls, senators in tuxes that screamed taxpayer dollars, Navy brass polishing their stars, Ethan's Silicon Valley crew nursing mimosas like it was a TED Talk. Mom fussed over the floral arches, her pearls clacking like warning beads. Dad held court by the bar, his laugh booming over the string quartet, arm around a red-headed aide half his age. He caught my eye across the room and winked, that paternal bullshit mask cracking just enough to show the predator beneath. The ceremony blurred by in vows and violins, Ethan's hand steady in mine as we kissed under a canopy of white roses. Applause rippled, but I scanned faces. The General, Elias Thorne, my CO from the Gulf, front row left, his mustache twitching like he sensed the storm. He'd been the one to pin my Admiral stripes posthumously, a hollow honor at my empty casket. Beside him, Captain Reyes, my XO, eyes sharp as she clapped, loyal to the end, or so I'd thought until Dad's bribes turned her to. Reception kicked off with toasts that tasted like bile. Ethan's best man droned on about love in the trenches, earning chuckles. Then Dad took the mic, his voice honeyed drawl cutting through the chatter. Folks, raise your glasses to Ruby, my little tomboy who traded tea parties for tank traps. Who knew the girl who couldn't keep a boyfriend past boot camp would snag a catch like Ethan? Laughter swelled, cruel and communal, guests shifting uncomfortably as he leaned in. But seriously, sweetheart, if you ever miss a shot in the field, just remember, Daddy's always got your back. Even if it's with a bailout check. The room froze, forks hovering midair. Heat crawled up my neck, not from shame, from rage, the kind that levels villages. In the before, I'd laughed it off, played the dutiful daughter, whispering asshole under my breath as I cut the cake. That night, as confetti fell, he'd pull me aside, hand on my shoulder like a vice. Proud of you, kid. But that report you filed on the contractor kickbacks? Might want to bury it. For the family. I'd nodded, blind trust sealing my fate. Now, fuck that. I stood, down whispering against the hardwood, every eye on me like spotlights in an interrogation room. Thanks, Dad. Touching as always. My voice carried, cool as a suppressed round. But let's be real, bailouts are your specialty, aren't they? Like that sweet deal with Harlan Defense last quarter. Skimming off the top while sailors like me eat sand for scraps. Murmurs erupted. Champagne flutes clinking forgotten. Dad's face purpled, his grip whitening on the mic. Ruby, what the hell? Or, how about the trust? Dad? Mom's inheritance. Funneled into your consulting fees. I saw the ledgers, buried in your study like yesterday's sins. Lies? No, truths from a grave I'd clawed out of. Guests whispered, phones slipping out for discreet recordings. Ethan's hand tightened on mine, confusion etching his brow. Enough, Dad bellowed, stepping forward, the room a powder keg. You're drunk, girl. Or delusional from all that desert sun. That's when General Thorne rose, his chair scraping like a gavel. The quartet faltered to silence. He adjusted his dress blues, metals glinting like accusations, and fixed Dad with a stare that could melt steel. "Senator Harlan," he drawled, Virginia roots belying the Texas steel in his tone. "With all due respect to the happy couple, Admiral Claire." Front row. The words hung. A grenade pin pulled. Admiral. Not yet earned in this timeline. But Thorne knew, had to, from the classified briefings I'd leaked in my mind's eye. The ones that would expose Dad's treason before it bloomed. Gasps rippled. Mom's hand flew to her throat, pearls scattering like spent casings. Ethan blinked at me, piecing it together. "Ruby." "What?" Dad sputtered. Mike feedback screeching. "Admiral? She's a lieutenant. For Christ's sake. This is a joke." Thorne didn't blink. "Promotion's effective at 0800 tomorrow." "Sir." "Pending investigation into certain irregularities in procurement channels." His eyes flicked to me. A nod so subtle it was Morse code. "Your move, Admiral." The room exploded. Flashes from press photogs who'd crashed the party. Aides herding senators toward exits. Mom collapsing into a chair with a sob. I released Ethan's hand, stepping forward, the weight of 2 lifetimes settling like epaulets. "No jokes, Dad. Just consequences." "You taught me that." As security swarmed, dragging him toward a side door amid shouts of treason and cover-up, I felt the first crack in the facade, the twist I'd buried deep. Ethan, my almost husband, his face draining of color. In the rush, I'd glimpsed his phone screen, a text from Dad, time-stamped an hour ago. "Tell her to back off the contractor probe, or the wedding's off. We lose this. You're out too." Betrayal. Round 2. But this time, I was armed. The aftermath hit like a flashbang, screams echoing off the vaulted ceilings. Waitstaff frozen with trays of shrimp cocktail dangling like limp flags of surrender. Dad thrashed against the plainclothes feds who'd materialized from the shadows, their grips ironclad under the guise of guest list security. "This is bullshit. Ruby. Call them off, you ungrateful little." His words dissolved into curses as they zip-tied his wrists. The senator's cufflinks winking farewell like traitorous stars. I stood there, heart pounding a war drum, the lace of my gown suddenly constricting like a tourniquet. Thorne approached, his presence parting the crowd like Moses with a sidearm. "Admiral," he murmured, low enough for only me. "We need to talk. Now." "No question. Just command." I nodded, glancing back at Ethan, who hovered like a ghost at the edge of the fray. His tux rumpled, eyes darting between me and the melee. Mom wailed from her chair, surrounded by pearl-clutching socialites who'd morphed into amateur crisis counselors. "Ruby, what have you done? Your father's a good man." "Good man." The phrase curdled in my throat. In the first life, I'd echoed it at his trial, posthumous for me. Of course, testifying via affidavit from beyond the grave, pieced together by my lawyer from emails and voice memos. It hadn't mattered. The jury saw a grieving widower, not the architect of my ambush. Later, "Mom," I said, voice steady as a rifle barrel. "Call Harlan and Associates. They'll handle the spin." Lies again. His firm was the next domino, riddled with shell companies laundering kickbacks from arms dealers who'd greased Dad's palm for no-bid contracts. Thorne steered me toward a service corridor, the din muffling behind heavy oak doors. Fluorescent buzz overhead cast his face in harsh relief, wrinkles like fault lines from too many sandstorms. "Claire, walk me through it." The tip came anonymous. "You're routing Untraceable. Said Harlan's been playing both sides since 22. Feeding cords to proxies via that lobbyist bitch. Carla Voss. I leaned against a stack of folded linens. The industrial sink dripping like a leaky faucet of fate. It's all true,
Sir.
and more. He's got Ethan in his pocket, my husband. Or ex now. I guess. Startup loans tied to silence on the audits. The words tasted like ash, but spitting them freed something feral in me. In the before, I'd uncovered the threads too late. After the wedding, during honeymoon spreadsheets that revealed Ethan's Venmo trails to Dad's pack. By then, the convoy was rolling, and I was the decoy. Thorne's mustache twitched. We move fast. NCIS is en route. Your apartment's already swept. Found burners. Encrypted drives. You're clean, but Harlan's not. We need your testimony. Live. To bury him. He paused, eyes narrowing. And that promotion? Not just smoke. You've earned it twice over.
Kid.
Welcome to the club. Admiral Claire. The title echoed. A phoenix from the pyre. But glory tasted hollow when laced with vendetta. What's the play? General? I want him broken, not just booked. He chuckled. Dark and dry as desert wind. Ruthless. I like it. We leak to the Post. Anonymous sources.
Of course.
Let the Fourth Estate eviscerate him before cuffs click. But watch your six. Ruby. Voss is a viper. She'll slither to cut a deal. Pin it all on him to save her ass. We emerged back into the ballroom. Now a skeleton crew of loyalists and leeches. Ethan cornered me by the dessert table. Tiramisu sweating under cloches like guilty secrets. Ruby. What the fuck? Admiral? And Dad, Jesus. Is this about the money? I told him to back off. I swear. I held up a hand. The diamond solitaire glinting like a taunt. Save it, Ethan. I saw the text. His face crumpled. A Silicon Valley facade cracking under analog truth. It was one time. He said it was just to protect you from the brass breathing down your neck on that probe. I love you, Ruby. We can fix this.
Love.
The words slithered. Oily as the lies that had choked me in that rollover. Fix? Like you fix the books for his re-election slush fund? Or like you fix me up with that anonymous donor list that got my team blacklisted? I'd pieced it together in purgatory hours. Cross-referencing redacted reports from my afterlife inbox, courtesy of a hacker buddy who'd gone rogue on my behalf. He recoiled. Mouth agape. How did you, Ruby?
Please.
The wedding. Our life. Over. The word dropped like a hatch on a sub. Final and flooding. I slipped the ring off, pressing it into his palm. Cold metal against warmer betrayal. Tell Voss I said hi. And Ethan?
Run.
Before the feds trace your offshore accounts. As he slunk away, tail between his legs. Mom materialized. Mascara rivers carving her cheeks. Baby. He's family. Whatever he did, we forgive.
No, Mom.
I cupped her face, thumbs brushing tears that had never washed away the blinders. He killed me. Not with bullets, but with whispers. The convoy. The leak, it was him. All of it. Her eyes widened, denial fracturing like cheap crystal. In the first go, she defended him to her last breath, dying with his photo on her nightstand. This time, prove it, she whispered, voice a ghost of the steel I'd inherited. By dawn, I promised. pack a bag. We're going to the farm, your farm, not his. Night fell over DC. Like a blackout curtain, sirens wailing distant anthems as I ditched the gown for fatigues in AJ. Crew changing room, poetic. Trading bridal white for olive drab. Thorne's driver dropped me at Langley. The CIA annex humming with off-hours urgency. Voss was already in holding, a brittle blonde in a sheath dress that screamed accessory to treason, lawyered up and leaking like a sieve. Interrogation was my baptism by fire reborn. I watched from observation. One-way glass my confessional. Carla, the agent drawled, southern charm masking the shank. We've got your emails to Harlan, cords matching the ambush that dust-bunnied Admiral Claire's convoy. Care to explain? She cracked like eggshell underbuthial, spilling on Dad's web, bribes from Pakistani intermediaries. Ethan's tech as the laundering pipe. Even Mom's shopping sprees as cover for Cayman deposits. It was survival, Voss sobbed, smudging her Chanel. He threatened my kids, said I'd end up like her. Her.
Me.
The ghost in the machine. By 0400, warrants flew like confetti from hell, raids on Dad's McLean mansion. Ethan's Palo Alto Pide Terra. The whole rotten syndicate. I crashed in a safe-house cot, sleep a luxury rationed by nightmares of twisted metal and accusatory eyes. Dawn broke with headlines. Virginia Senator Harlan indicted in treason plot. Navy Admiral fiancé at center of scandal. My photo splashed across the post. Not the blushing bride, but the steely operative. Thorne's endorsement a footnote that roared. Back in Arlington by noon, Mom waited on the stoop, suitcase at her feet. The house echoing empty without Dad's bluster. I found the letters, she said, handing over a manila envelope yellowed with secrets. In the attic. Your grandmother's will, he forged it. Ruby. Hid it to keep control. Inside, deeds. Signatures mismatched like alibis. Proof he'd gaslit us both for decades. We hugged then. Bone deep. The kind that mends fractures you didn't know bled. I'm sorry, she breathed. For not seeing. Forgiven, I lied. Because some wounds scar pretty. But as feds hauled Dad from his hearing in orange jumpsuit glory, spitting venom at the cameras, my daughter's a liar, brainwashed by the machine. I felt the first twist uncoil. Mercy?
No.
This was just intermission. Ethan's call came at dusk. Voice slurry with bourbon and desperation. Ruby, they're freezing my assets. Voss named me, said I knew. But I didn't. I swear. You did.
Click. Blocked.
In the before, I'd pitted him, the useful idiot. Now, he'd rot in Leavenworth, trading code for conjugal visits. But the real serpent slithered later, under cover of congressional recess. A burner buzzed, unknown. Nice play, Admiral. But families forever. Check your mail. Attached, a grainy photo. Time-stamped yesterday, Mom at the farm. Shotgun in hand, oblivious to the scope glint in the tree-lean. Dad's reach. From a cell. Or someone deeper. The photo burned into my retinas like a laser sight. Mom's silhouette against the Virginia dusk. That old Remington propped casual against her hip, like she'd finally grown a spine. But the glint, that cold, mechanical wink from the woods screamed sniper. Professional grade. Dad's doing, no doubt. His Senate cronies pulling strings from the shadows of Supermax. Or Voss. Flipping the script for immunity. Her confession, a Trojan horse loaded with payback. I forwarded it to Thorne's secure line. Fingers flying over the keyboard in the safe house glow. The cursor blinking like a heartbeat monitor flatlining. Incoming threat. Harlan's not done. His reply pinged instant. Extraction en route. Stay frosty. Frosty. Navy lingo for don't lose your shit. But my blood ran magma. The second chance curdling into a curse. Wheels crunched gravel outside 20 minutes later. Blacked out Suburban. Plates, diplomatic. Feds spilling out like commandos from a bad action flick. Lead agent, Reyes. My XO from the grave. Her dark braid coiled tight as her resolve. Admiral, she said. No preamble. We're wheels up to Quantico. Safe house there, Thorne's orders. Mom was mid-rate herself when we rolled up to the farm, her voice crackling over the radio as SWAT breached the barn. Ruby? They found tripwires, booby-trapped the well house. Your father's prints all over the detonators. We scooped her up en route. Her shotgun stowed in the trunk. Face pale but fierce. He called last night. Collect from holding. Said you'd ruin us all. I hung up. Quantico was a fortress of floodlights and firewalls, briefings stacking like ammo crates. Thorne paced the war room. Holomap flickering with Harlan's network, red nodes pulsing from DC to Dubai. Ethan's startups as the veins pumping dirty cash. He's lawyered up with the best, ex-CIA fixer. Claims entrapment. But that photo? It's Voss. She lawyered separately. Cut a deal with justice. Walks if she testifies and delivers a scalp. Yours was too small. Harlan's the prize. But you're the loose end. I leaned into the table, elbows grinding laminate. So she hires a shooter? Sloppy for a spook. Not hired. Family. Thorne tapped a file. D-class bursting open. Voss's brother. Ex-Delta. Dishonorably discharged for excessive force in a black site op. He's the ghost in your woods. Went dark after her arrest. We're hunting. The hunt became my vigil. Drones over the Blue Ridge. Canine sweeps through Dad's hunting blinds. Every shadow a suspect. Mom holed up in the guest quarters, poring over Grandma's letters like scripture. Unearthing more graves. Dad's first affair. A cover for blackmailing a rival congressman. My childhood rebellion. Actually early signs of his grooming me as the fall guy for audits gone wrong. He always said you were too smart, she murmured over lukewarm coffee. Too much like your gran. Had to dim that light. Ethan's trial broke first. A circus in federal court. Him sniveling on the stand about coercion, while his lawyer paraded emails mine. Forged in the before. Now exposed as deepfakes courtesy of his own algo. I was blind, he wept, eyes locking on me in the gallery. Forgive me. The judge's gavel cracked like my patience. 20 years. No parole. As marshals let him out, he mouthed sorry. But I saw the calculation, the appeal fund he'd already seeded with crypto. Dad's arraignment was theater. Cable news swarming the steps like vultures on carrion. He emerged cuffed. Suit rumpled but smirk intact. Flanked by that fixer with the shark eyes. Innocent until proven, he barked at the mics. And my daughter's the real criminal, fabricating scandals to climb the ladder. Mom retched beside me, but I held firm. The Admiral's bars on my shoulders a shield forged in fire. Voss testified a week later. Immunity robe draped over her like a shroud. Harlan orchestrated it all. She purred from the box. Voice silk over razor wire. The leaks. The convoy, Ruby was collateral. Silencing her probes. I handled the cutouts. He handled the charm. Dad's face mottled, objections flying like flares. But the jury, blue-collar holdouts from his district, didn't buy the folksy act anymore. Then the twist gut punched us all. Cross-exam. The fixer produced a recording. Voss's voice tinny and terrified. Take the deal. Carla, or your brother's next. Not Dad. Thorne's predecessor. Admiral Hale. The old guard Dad had in his pocket since Nam.
Hale.
Retired but rotting in a nursing home. Puppeteering from his morphine drip. The real Spider. Using Dad as the patsy.
Me as the fly.
Court erupted. Mistrial motions crashing like waves. But I saw it clear. Hale's play. Laundering through Harlan to fund a shadow op, private militia for border security, code for cartel cash. Dad wasn't the kingpin. He was the disposable knight. Betrayed by the board he thought he controlled. I cornered Thorne in the hall. Rain lashing the windows like judgment. You knew. Hale's your mentor, pinned your first star. He sagged. Age etching deeper. Suspected. Needed proof. Your tip lit the fuse. Ruby. But this? It buries us all. Us, the Navy old boys. Complicit in the silence. The decision clawed at me. Controversial as a drone strike in a wedding party. Expose Hale. Torch the institution that had made me? Or contain it? Let Dad swing alone. Preserving the machine? Mom's hand on my arm. Truth. Baby. Or we're all ghosts. I chose fire. Leaked the tape to WikiLeaks that night. Anonymous drop from a VPN in Tallinn. By morning, headlines screamed Navy scandal. Retired Admiral orchestrates treason ring. Hale flatlined in his bed. Heart attack. Official. Karma. My verdict. Voss vanished into witness protection. Her brother a ghost in cuffs by dawn. Dad's retrial was swift. No fixer to bail him. He took the stand himself. Drawl cracked. Eyes hollow as he faced me across the well. Ruby. I did it for us. The legacy. You were always too wild. For you, I interjected. Voice echoing. The power. The purse. I died for your debts. The jury didn't flinch. Life. No parole. Supermax solitude. Ethan rotted in obscurity. His apps seized as evidence. Mom sold the farm. Bought a condo in Florida, waves and therapy. Rebuilding from ash. Thorne pinned my stars in a quiet ceremony. The weight settling like absolution. You saved more than yourself, Admiral. But the happy ending? It chafed. Too neat for the blood on my hands. Nights. I woke to the Humvee's screech. Dad's laugh echoing in the dark. Revenge tasted sweet, but hollow, a second life laced with what-ifs. Was I hero or hammer? Justice or just another Harlan breaking bones? As I stood on the Arlington balcony, Potomac whispering secrets below, my phone lit with a new alert. Classified brief. Syria op. Gear up. The machine ground on. And so did I, trunks and not as curse, but call to arms. Dad's cell had bars. Mine had stars. And in America's endless grind, that was victory enough. Or damnation.